The text message that destroyed everything arrived at 7:43 p.m. Lucas Hale stared at his phone, watching his carefully rebuilt life crack open. The woman sitting across from him, Victoria Lang, billionaire, stranger, completely wrong person, had just asked a question that made his chest tight. His daughter was home with a sitter. His dead wife's wedding ring still lived in his nightstand drawer. And this blind date he'd been tricked into? It was about to become the thing he couldn't walk away from. Stay with me until the end. Hit that like button and drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. The restaurant was the kind of place Lucas Hale had no business being in. Marble floors, chandeliers that probably cost more than his truck, white tablecloths so crisp they looked like they'd snap if you folded them wrong. He'd driven past Romano's 100 times on his way to the hardware store, never once thinking he'd actually walk through those heavy glass doors. But here he was, 7:30 on a Friday night, wearing the only button-down shirt he owned that didn't have paint stains on the collar, feeling like an absolute idiot. Reservation for Hale, he told the host, a kid who couldn't have been more than 22 and was already better dressed than Lucas had been at his own wedding. The host scanned his tablet, frowned, scanned again. I'm not seeing... Oh, wait, Hale, party of two? Yeah. Lucas shifted his weight. The shoes he'd borrowed from his brother-in-law were half a size too small. Though honestly, I don't think the other person's showing up. The reservation was made this afternoon by, The host squinted. Marcus Hale? Lucas closed his eyes. That's my brother. I'll show you to your table, sir. The table was by the window. Of course it was. Maximum visibility for maximum humiliation when he got stood up. Lucas sat down, picked up the menu, and immediately put it back down when he saw the prices. $42 for chicken. $60 for steak. Who the hell paid $60 for steak? His phone buzzed. Marcus. You there yet? Lucas. I'm gonna kill you. Marcus. You're there. Is she cute? Lucas. There's no one here, you moron. This was a waste of gas. Marcus. Give it 10 minutes. I promise this is worth it. Lucas. You set me up on a blind date without asking me. Marcus. Exactly. Because if I asked, you'd have said no. Lucas typed out 3 different responses, all of them involving creative threats, then deleted them and shoved his phone in his pocket. Across the restaurant, a couple laughed over wine. An older man proposed to his girlfriend. Everyone here knew what they were doing, everyone except Lucas, who was about to drink overpriced water and then drive home to relieve the babysitter. He gave it 5 more minutes. Then he'd leave. 4 minutes and 30 seconds later, the front door opened. Lucas didn't look up right away, but he felt the shift in the room, the way conversations paused mid-sentence, the way the host straightened his posture, the way even the damn chandelier seemed to shine brighter. When he did look up, he forgot how to breathe. She was tall. Not intimidatingly tall, but tall enough that the heels she wore looked dangerous. Dark hair pulled back in something that was trying to be casual but probably took 20 minutes to perfect. A black dress that was simple in the way expensive things are simple. No flash, just quality. And her face. She wasn't pretty in the obvious way. Her features were too sharp for that, too deliberate. Strong jaw, serious eyes, the kind of face that made you pay attention not because it demanded it, but because you couldn't look away. She spoke quietly to the host, who practically tripped over himself to help her. Lucas watched her scan the restaurant, watched her eyes land on him for half a second, then move on. He should have looked away. He didn't. The host gestured toward Lucas's table. No. No way. The woman's expression didn't change. She walked over, each step measured, controlled, and stopped 3 feet from the table. Lucas Hale? Her voice was lower than he expected. Smooth. The kind of voice that made corporate boardrooms shut up and listen. Lucas stood up too fast, nearly knocked over the water glass. Yeah, hi, I believe we've both been set up. She pulled out the chair across from him and sat down without waiting for an invitation. My assistant made this reservation, told me it was a business dinner with a potential investor. I'm Victoria Lang. Lucas sat back down. His brain was moving too slow. Your assistant set you up on a blind date? Apparently. Victoria picked up the menu, scanned it with the efficiency of someone who ate at places like this regularly. And your brother did the same to you? He thinks I need to get back out there. Lucas made air quotes, felt stupid doing it. I don't even know how he found you, or how he convinced your assistant to… Wait, are you Victoria Lang? Like, Lang Industries Victoria Lang? She looked at him over the top of the menu. You've heard of me. You bought the old manufacturing plant on 5th Street, turned it into some kind of tech campus. It was all over the news. That was 3 years ago. I don't get out much. Something that might have been a smile crossed her face. Might have been. It was gone too fast to tell. The waiter appeared, introduced himself as Julian, rattled off specials that Lucas didn't understand half the words to. Victoria ordered wine that probably cost more than Lucas's mortgage payment. Lucas asked for water. You're not drinking? Victoria asked after Julian left. I'm driving, and I have a 4-year-old at home. That got her attention. You have a daughter? Yeah, Emma. She's with a sitter right now, which I'm paying $15 an hour for, so this is turning into an expensive night of getting pranked by my idiot brother. Victoria set down her menu. We could leave. We could. But we won't. Why's that? Because my assistant is incredibly smug, and I'd like to prove her wrong by having a terrible time. Lucas laughed. He didn't mean to. It just came out. That's the most honest thing anyone said to me in months. I don't have time for dishonesty, Mr. Hale. Lucas, please. Mr. Hale is my dad, and he's been dead 6 years. Lucas? She tested his name like she was trying on a new jacket. Victoria. Not Vicky, not Vic. Victoria. Got it. The wine arrived. Victoria tasted it, approved it, waited until Julian left before speaking again. So, your brother is trying to set you up because my wife died 3 years ago, and apparently 3 years is the magic number where people stop letting you grieve and start shoving you towards strangers in expensive restaurants. Lucas watched her face for the reaction, the sympathy, the, oh, I'm so sorry that he'd heard 1,000 times and never once made anything better. Victoria didn't do that. She just took a sip of wine and said, That's terrible. The setup, I mean, not your wife dying. That's also terrible, but it's a different category of terrible. Yeah. Lucas picked up the menu again, put it down again. What about you? Why is your assistant so desperate to get you on a date? Because I work 70-hour weeks and haven't been in a relationship in 4 years. Apparently this is concerning to people who have nothing better to do than monitor my personal life. 4 years isn't that long. My assistant thinks I'm going to die alone, surrounded by quarterly reports. Would that be so bad? Victoria almost smiled again. I've had worse Fridays. Julian returned. They ordered. Victoria got something with truffle oil. Lucas ordered the second cheapest thing on the menu and hoped it wouldn't bankrupt him. When Julian left, an awkward silence settled over the table. Lucas broke it first. So, we're doing this? We're actually having dinner? The reservation's already made, the wine is poured, we might as well. Victoria leaned back slightly. Unless you have somewhere better to be. Home. Relieving the babysitter, watching Frozen for the 800th time. You've seen Frozen 800 times? Conservative estimate. Emma's in a phase. Every night it's, Daddy, can we watch The Ice Princess? Lucas caught himself doing the voice, stopped. Sorry, I don't really talk about her much. Outside the house. Why not? Because people get weird about it, the single dad thing. They either act like I'm some kind of hero for doing basic parenting, or they assume I'm screwing it up because I don't have a wife to tell me what to do. Are you screwing it up? Probably, but she's fed and clothed and knows I love her, so I figure that's better than nothing. Victoria studied him, really studied him, like she was reading a contract and looking for the loopholes. You're not what I expected. What did you expect? Someone trying to impress me. Men usually do when they find out who I am. Lady, I don't even know how I'm going to pay for this dinner. I'm not trying to impress anyone. Good. Don't start. The food arrived. It was good. Better than good, probably, though Lucas had no frame of reference for $50 chicken. They ate in silence for a few minutes. Comfortable silence, which surprised him. He'd expected awkward, expected to count down the minutes until he could leave. Instead, he found himself asking, What do you actually do? At Lang Industries, I mean. I know you bought the plant, but I don't know what happens there. We develop manufacturing technology, automation systems primarily, robotics. We just finalized a contract with 3 automotive companies to streamline their assembly processes. You're putting people out of work. He said it without thinking, instantly regretted it, but Victoria didn't get defensive. We're making dangerous jobs safer and creating new positions in programming and maintenance. The net employment rate actually goes up. But yes, some positions are eliminated. It's not perfect. Must be nice, though, building something like that. It's work. It's always work. Better than my work. What do you do? I'm a contractor, renovations mostly, kitchens, bathrooms, the occasional deck if I'm desperate. That's building something too. Not the same. Why not? Lucas set down his fork. Because at the end of the day, I go home covered in sawdust to a daughter who needs dinner and homework help and a bedtime story. You go home to, what, a penthouse? A townhouse? Loft? Downtown. And I usually go home to work emails and conference calls with our Singapore office. Sounds fun. It's not, but it's mine. Something in the way she said it made Lucas look at her differently. Not as the billionaire, not as the woman who didn't belong at a table with him, just as a person who'd built something and refused to apologize for it. How'd you get into it? He asked. The tech stuff. Engineering degree, started working for a manufacturing company, hated how they did things, quit, and started my own. Took 12 years and more sleepless nights than I can count. But here we are. Here we are, Lucas echoed. Victoria's phone buzzed. She glanced at it, frowned, silenced it. Your Singapore office? My assistant, gloating. Mine's probably doing the same thing. My brother, I mean. Lucas pulled out his phone. Sure enough, 3 messages from Marcus. Marcus. How's it going? Marcus. Did you talk to her yet? Marcus. Lucas. If you're just sitting there in silence, I swear to God he showed Victoria the messages. She raised an eyebrow. Your brother is heavily invested in your love life. He thinks I'm broken. That losing Sarah broke me and I need fixing. Did it? Lucas put his phone away. Yeah, it did. But you don't fix something like that by throwing me at the first woman who agrees to show up. I didn't agree. I was tricked. Right, sorry. Don't apologize. It's refreshing, actually. Usually when men have dinner with me, they're trying to sell me something or sleep with me. Sometimes both. Jesus. You'd be surprised how often those 2 goals overlap in their minds. Lucas pushed his plate away, mostly empty. Can I ask you something? You've been asking me things for the past 40 minutes. Fair point. Can I ask you something more personal? Victoria considered this. You can ask. I reserve the right not to answer. Why haven't you been in a relationship in 4 years? You said your assistant thinks it's a problem, but you didn't say you think it's a problem. Because it's not a problem. It's a choice. Why? She finished her wine, signaled Julian for another glass. Because the last man I dated was intimidated by my success. He said he supported me, loved me, was proud of me. Then he started making comments, little things. Do you have to work this weekend? Can't someone else handle that? You're always choosing work over us. And when I wouldn't scale back, wouldn't make myself smaller to make him comfortable, he left. Told me I'd die alone because no man wants a woman who thinks she's better than him. That's bullshit. Which part? All of it. But especially the part where he made his insecurity your problem. Victoria looked at him, really looked at him the way she had earlier, but different this time, softer. Most men don't see it that way. Most men are idiots. Are you including yourself in that assessment? Absolutely. I do something stupid at least 3 times a day. That got her. A real smile this time, not the almost smile. It changed her entire face, made her look younger, less guarded. What's your most recent stupid thing? She asked. Showing up here thinking I could afford it. And the second most recent? Agreeing to let Marcus babysit Emma last month. She came home knowing words I didn't teach her and demanding something called TikTok. She's 4. Exactly. They talked through dessert. Victoria ordered something with chocolate. Lucas stuck with coffee. They talked about Emma's preschool and Victoria's upcoming trip to Japan. They talked about Lucas's latest renovation project, a kitchen remodel for a couple who kept changing their minds about cabinet colors. They talked about nothing important, and somehow it felt like the most important conversation Lucas had had in years. When Julian brought the check, Lucas reached for it out of habit. Victoria was faster. "I'm paying," she said. "You don't have to do that." "I'm aware. I'm doing it anyway." "Victoria, you drove here in a 10-year-old truck worried about babysitter costs. I arrived in a car that costs more than most people's houses. I'm paying." Lucas sat back. "I don't like it." "You don't have to like it, but if it makes you feel better, you can get the next one." The words hung in the air between them. "Next one?" Lucas said carefully. Victoria signed the check, stood up. "I have a meeting tomorrow at 9, coffee at 7:30. Yeah, okay. There's a place called Brennan's. Do you know it?" "The one on Oak Street?" "That's the one. 7:30. She held out her hand. Lucas shook it. Her grip was firm, professional, but her eyes weren't professional at all. "Thank you for not being terrible," Victoria said. "That's a low bar." "You'd be surprised how many people can't clear it." She left. Lucas sat at the table for another minute, trying to figure out what the hell just happened. His phone buzzed. Marcus. "Well?" Lucas. "I hate you." Marcus. "That's not an answer." Lucas. "We're having coffee tomorrow." Marcus. "Dude." Lucas. "Still hate you." Marcus. "You love me and you know it." Lucas paid the babysitter, checked on Emma, asleep, clutching her stuffed elephant, and sat on the couch in the dark. The house was quiet. It was always quiet after Emma went to bed. Quiet and empty, and exactly the way it had been for 3 years. Except tonight it felt different. Tonight it felt like maybe, possibly, the quiet wasn't permanent. His phone lit up with a text from an unknown number. Unknown. "This is Victoria. Your brother gave me your number. If that's overstepping, let me know and I'll delete it." Lucas. "It's fine. How'd Marcus even get your number?" Victoria. "My assistant. They've apparently been conspiring." Lucas. "We're surrounded by traitors." Victoria. "Apparently. See you tomorrow?" Lucas. "Yeah, see you tomorrow." He set his phone down, picked it up again, looked at Sarah's photo on the mantle. Their wedding day, her in white, him in the cheap suit he'd rented, both of them grinning like idiots who thought they had forever. "I don't know what I'm doing," he said to the photo, to Sarah, to the empty house. "But I think I'm going to try." The photo didn't answer. It never did. Lucas went to bed and didn't dream about anything at all. Morning came too early. Emma woke him up at 6 by climbing into bed and announcing she wanted pancakes. Lucas made pancakes, got her dressed, dropped her off at Marcus's house. His brother owed him that much, at least, and drove to Brennan's. Victoria was already there. She sat at a corner table, laptop open, coffee half gone. She wore jeans and a sweater, her hair down, and somehow looked more intimidating than she had in the black dress. "You're early," Lucas said, sliding into the seat across from her. "I'm always early. You're on time, which is equally impressive." "I have a 4-year-old. On time is the best I can manage." She closed the laptop. "How is Emma this morning?" "Demanding pancakes and asking questions about the Ice Princess again. Standard Saturday." "Does she know you're here?" "She knows I'm having coffee. She doesn't know it's with someone." Lucas paused. "Is that okay that she doesn't know?" "Why wouldn't it be?" "Because if this is, if we're..." He stopped, started over. "I don't introduce people to Emma. Not like that. Not unless it's serious." "We've had one dinner, Lucas." "I know. I just wanted to be clear about that boundary." Victoria studied him over her coffee cup. "You're a good father." "I'm a terrified father who's making it up as I go." "That's the same thing." They ordered breakfast. Lucas got eggs and toast. Victoria got oatmeal and fruit, which seemed like a crime in a place that served actual good bacon, but he didn't comment. "Can I ask you something?" Victoria said. "Seems fair. I asked you things last night." "What changed? Between your wife dying and last night, what made you show up?" Lucas tore a piece of toast in half. "Honestly, I was going to cancel. I had this whole speech prepared for Marcus about boundaries and respecting my choices, but then Emma asked me why I never smile anymore. And I realized she was right. I don't. I go through the motions, make sure she's okay, but I don't actually live. I just exist around her life. That's not healthy. I know, but it felt safe, easier. And now? Now I'm having coffee with a woman who intimidates the hell out of me, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Victoria set down her spoon. I intimidate you? Are you kidding? You run a company. You have people who work for you. You wear clothes that probably cost more than my truck. Yes, you intimidate me. Good. Good? I'd rather be intimidating than boring. Lucas laughed. Trust me, boring is not a problem you have. They talked through breakfast. Victoria told him about the Japan trip, a factory visit, negotiations with a potential partner. Lucas told her about Emma's upcoming preschool graduation, how she was convinced she needed a fancy dress like a princess, and he had no idea where to find one. I can help with that, Victoria said. You don't have to. I know I don't have to, but I know exactly 3 stores that carry children's formal wear, and I'm betting you know exactly 0. That's accurate. Then let me help. Send me her size and I'll send you some options. Lucas hesitated. Why? Why what? Why are you helping? Why did you agree to coffee? Why are you here when you could be doing literally anything else? Victoria was quiet for a moment. Outside, the city was waking up. Cars passing, people walking dogs, the whole Saturday routine. Because I haven't enjoyed talking to someone in a very long time, she said finally, and last night, I enjoyed talking to you. So I'm here to see if that was a fluke or something worth pursuing. And I don't know yet, but I'm willing to find out. Lucas's phone buzzed. Emma, texting from Marcus's phone with what had to be his brother's help. Emma, Daddy, when are you coming home? Emma, Uncle Marcus says you're on a date. Emma, what's the date? Lucas showed Victoria. She read the messages, her expression unreadable. What are you going to tell her? Victoria asked. That Uncle Marcus has a big mouth and she should ignore him. Not about the date part? Not yet. Like I said, you don't introduce people unless it's serious. I remember. Lucas typed out a response to Emma, promised he'd be home soon. He put his phone away and found Victoria watching him. What? He said. Nothing. Just, you're careful with her, with what she knows, what she's exposed to. It's admirable. It's necessary. Her mom died when she was 18 months old. She doesn't remember Sarah at all. I'm all she has. I can't screw that up. You won't. You don't know that. No, Victoria agreed. But I believe it anyway. They finished breakfast. Lucas paid this time. Victoria let him, which felt like a small victory. They walked out together, stood on the sidewalk in the morning sun. So, Lucas said, what now? Now I go prepare for my Japan trip, and you go back to Emma. When do you leave? Tuesday. I'll be gone 10 days. 10 days felt like a long time. Lucas didn't say that out loud. Can I call you? He asked instead. While you're gone. I'd like that. What time zone will you be in? 13 hours ahead. So when it's morning for you, it's night for me. I'll figure it out. Victoria pulled out her keys. Lucas? Yeah? This thing we're doing, whatever it is, I need you to know I don't have time for games. I don't do casual well. So if you're just testing the waters because your brother pushed you, tell me now. Lucas thought about last night, about how easy it had been to talk to her, about how he'd gone home and didn't feel quite as empty. It's not just that, he said. I don't know what it is yet, but it's not just that. Okay. Victoria unlocked her car, a sleek black thing that probably went from 0 to 60 in 3 seconds. Call me Tuesday night. When you wake up, I'll be finishing dinner. I will. She got in the car, drove away. Lucas stood on the sidewalk and watched her go, feeling like something significant had just happened, and he wasn't entirely sure what. His phone rang. Marcus. I'm not talking to you, Lucas said by way of greeting. How'd it go? I said I'm not talking to you. Emma says you were on a date. Emma needs to mind her business. She's 4. She doesn't have business. So? Was Victoria cool? Lucas walked to his truck. Yeah, she was cool. Are you seeing her again? Maybe. Probably. I don't know. That's 3 different answers, man. Because I don't have a clear answer. It's complicated. It's always complicated. That doesn't mean it's not worth it. Lucas got in his truck, started the engine. I'm hanging up now. Wait. Thank you for setting it up. I'm still mad at you, but thank you. He hung up before Marcus could respond, drove back to his brother's house. Emma came running out before he even parked, her hair in pigtails that Marcus had attempted and mostly failed at. Daddy! She launched herself at him. Uncle Marcus says you were with a lady. Uncle Marcus talks too much. Is she nice? Very nice. Is she pretty? Emma, Uncle Marcus says you need a girlfriend because you're grumpy all the time. Lucas shot his brother a look over Emma's head. Marcus, standing in the doorway, just grinned. Uncle Marcus is going to be in time out, Lucas said. You can't put adults in time out, Daddy. Watch me. He got Emma in the truck, buckled her in. She chattered the whole drive home about what she and Marcus had done. Made cookies, watched cartoons, played princess. Lucas listened with half his attention, the other half thinking about Victoria. About her sitting in a coffee shop with her laptop, looking both perfectly at home and slightly out of place. About the way she'd smiled when he'd made her laugh. About how he'd felt something other than grief for the first time in 3 years. Daddy? Emma said as they pulled into the driveway. Are you happy? Lucas looked at her in the rearview mirror, 4 years old and already too perceptive. I'm working on it, sweetheart, he said. I'm working on it. Tuesday came slower than Lucas expected. He spent Sunday doing laundry and fixing a leaky faucet in the downstairs bathroom. Monday was work, a kitchen job in the suburbs where the clients kept hovering, asking questions he'd already answered twice. By the time Tuesday night rolled around, he'd checked his phone so many times, Emma asked if he was waiting for something important. Just a call, he told her, stirring mac and cheese on the stove. From who? A friend. What friend? A new friend. Emma considered this while coloring at the kitchen table. Is it the lady Uncle Marcus told me about? Lucas nearly dropped the spoon. What exactly did Uncle Marcus tell you? That you met a pretty lady and you smiled a lot. Emma looked up from her drawing. A purple elephant, or maybe a dog, it was hard to tell. He said it was good because you never smile. I smile. Not really. You do the mouth thing, but your eyes stay sad. 4 years old. 4 years old, and she could see right through him. Lucas served dinner, sat down across from her. What if I told you I did meet someone? Someone nice. Would that be okay? Emma pushed her macaroni around. Is she going to be my new mommy? No, sweetheart. Nobody's replacing your mom. Nobody could. Then what's she going to be? I don't know yet. Maybe just my friend. Do I have to meet her? Not unless you want to. Not until you're ready. Emma seemed satisfied with that. She ate 3 bites of mac and cheese, then announced she was full and could she please watch the Ice Princess movie. Lucas said yes because he didn't have the energy to argue and because he needed her distracted when Victoria called. The call came at 8:15. Emma was 20 minutes into Frozen, completely absorbed. Lucas stepped out onto the back porch, closed the door behind him. Hey, he said. Hey. Victoria's voice sounded tired. Did I wake you? It's 8. Emma's still up. Right, time zones. I keep forgetting. He heard rustling on her end, like she was moving around. How was your day? Long. Yours? Longer. 14-hour flight, then straight to the hotel for a dinner meeting that ran 3 hours. I'm exhausted. Then why are you calling? You should sleep. Because I said I would call, and I wanted to hear your voice. Something in Lucas's chest did a weird flip. He sat down on the porch steps, stared out at the dark backyard. How's Tokyo? He asked. Overwhelming, incredible. Too many people and not enough hours in the day. She paused. I wish you could see it. There's this restaurant across from my hotel, tiny place, maybe 8 seats. The chef makes ramen that's better than anything I've ever tasted. Better than Romano's? Romano's has nothing on this place. You'd love it. I've never been anywhere, Lucas said. Outside the state, I mean. Sarah and I always talked about traveling after Emma was older, but then life happened. Yeah. They were quiet for a moment. Lucas could hear city sounds through the phone, distant traffic, voices in a language he didn't understand. Tell me about your day, Victoria said. I need to hear something normal. So he told her about the kitchen clients who couldn't decide between white cabinets or cream, about Emma's preschool teacher calling to say she'd bitten another kid, first time ever, completely out of character, about how Emma had cried the whole way home because she felt bad, and Lucas had no idea how to handle it except to say everyone makes mistakes and tomorrow they'd apologize. You handled it right, Victoria said. Did I? Because I have no idea what I'm doing half the time. None of us do. We're all just guessing. That's not reassuring coming from someone who runs a multi-million-dollar company. Billion. It's multi-billion now. Oh, well, that makes me feel so much better. She laughed. He liked the sound of it, genuine, unguarded. I should let you sleep, Lucas said, even though he didn't want to hang up. Probably. I have a factory tour at 6 tomorrow morning. Victoria? Yeah? Thanks for calling, for wanting to call. Thank you for answering. They hung up. Lucas sat on the porch for another few minutes, phone in his hand, feeling like a teenager with a crush. It was ridiculous. He was 32 years old, a widower, a father. He shouldn't feel this way about someone he'd known for less than a week. But he did. And that terrified him. The calls became routine. Victoria would call every night around the same time. Morning for her, evening for him. She'd tell him about factories and meetings and the colleague who kept making jokes she didn't understand. He'd tell her about Emma's preschool drama and difficult clients and the way his truck was making a noise he couldn't identify, but definitely couldn't afford to fix. On the 6th night, Emma caught him on the porch. Who are you always talking to? She asked through the screen door. My friend, remember? The lady friend? Yeah. Can I say hi? Lucas hesitated. Then, because he couldn't think of a good reason to say no, he opened the door. Emma came outside in her pajamas, pink, with cartoon cats all over them. Victoria, he said into the phone. Emma wants to say hello. Is that okay? Of course. Lucas handed Emma the phone. She held it with both hands, serious and important. Hi, she said. I'm Emma. I'm 4. How old are you? Lucas couldn't hear Victoria's response, but Emma nodded like it made perfect sense. Are you my daddy's girlfriend? Lucas tried to take the phone back. Emma dodged him. Uh-huh. Okay. Do you like ice princesses? Pause. You should watch the movie. It's really good. There's singing and a snowman and everything. Another pause. Okay. Here's my daddy. She handed the phone back and ran inside before Lucas could ask what Victoria had said. Sorry about that, Lucas said. Don't be. She's lovely. She asked if you're my girlfriend. I heard. What did you tell her? I told her I'm your friend who happens to be a girl, and that's close enough for now. Lucas sat back down on the steps. You're good with kids. I have 3 nephews. I know how to talk to small humans. You never mentioned nephews. You never asked. Tell me now. Tell me something I don't know about you. Victoria was quiet for a moment. I hate flying. Everyone thinks I love it because I do it all the time, but I hate every second. I take medication before every flight and spend the entire time convinced we're going to crash. Why didn't you say something before the Japan trip? Because it doesn't matter. Fear doesn't change what needs to be done. That's the saddest thing I've ever heard. It's practical. It's sad. You shouldn't have to do things that terrify you alone. Everyone does things alone, Lucas. That's life. It doesn't have to be. Silence. Then softly, what are you saying? Lucas didn't know. He just knew that the thought of Victoria white-knuckling it through flights by herself, afraid and alone, made his chest hurt. I'm saying next time you fly, call me. Before and after, so you're not alone. That's ridiculous. Probably, but I mean it. I land Friday afternoon. Your time. I'll be waiting for your call. He could hear her smile through the phone. Okay, I'll call. Friday afternoon, Lucas was installing cabinet hardware when his phone rang. He answered without checking the number. I'm alive, Victoria said. Wheels down 10 minutes ago. How was it? Terrifying, but I thought about what you said, about not being alone. It helped. Lucas sat down on the floor of the half-finished kitchen, surrounded by tools and sawdust. Good, that's good. Are you working? Yeah, kitchen remodel. They want it done by next week and I'm behind schedule. I should let you go. Wait, when can I see you? Tomorrow? I have to go into the office for a few hours, but I'm free after 2. Emma has a play date at 3. I could drop her off and meet you somewhere. Or I could come to you. Where's the play date? Lucas gave her the address, a house 10 minutes from his own. Victoria said she'd pick him up at 3:30. They could grab an early dinner or just drive around. Lucas said okay and went back to work, but he couldn't focus. His hands kept shaking. 48 hours ago, Victoria had been on the other side of the world. Tomorrow she'd be in his neighborhood, in her expensive car, picking him up like this was a normal thing that normal people did. He left the job site early, went home and stood in his closet for 20 minutes, trying to figure out what to wear before giving up and just putting on jeans and a clean shirt. Emma noticed. "You look nice, Daddy." "I look the same as always." "No, you're wearing the blue shirt. You only wear that one for important things." "It's just dinner, Em." "With the lady?" "Yeah." "The one I talked to on the phone?" "That's the one." Emma went back to her coloring. She sounded nice, but not like Mommy. Lucas knelt down next to her. "Nobody sounds like Mommy. Nobody's gonna be like Mommy." "I know. Uncle Marcus showed me pictures of Mommy when she was alive. He said I look like her." "You do. You have her eyes." "Do you miss her?" "Every day." "Me too. Even though I don't remember her, I still miss her." Lucas pulled Emma into a hug. She let him, which was rare these days. 4-year-olds were busy, always moving, never still. But right now, she was still and small and his. "I love you," he said into her hair. "I love you too, Daddy." Saturday came. Lucas dropped Emma at her playdate, a little girl from preschool who lived in a house 3 times the size of his, and waited outside like Victoria had said. At exactly 3:30, the black car pulled up. Victoria got out. She wore jeans and a white t-shirt and somehow made that look expensive. Her hair was down, no makeup that Lucas could see. She looked tired. "Rough night?" he asked, getting in the passenger seat. "Jet lag. I slept maybe 4 hours." She pulled away from the curb. "Where should we go?" "I don't know. Where do you usually go?" "Work. Home. That's about it." "You're telling me you live in this city and don't have a favorite spot?" "I don't have time for favorite spots." Lucas thought for a moment. "Take a left up here, then straight for about 2 miles. "Where are we going?" "You'll see." She drove. Lucas watched the city pass by outside the window. Neighborhoods he knew, streets he'd driven down 1,000 times. Everything looked different from inside Victoria's car. Cleaner, more deliberate. "Turn right at the light," he said. They ended up at a park. Nothing fancy, just trees and a walking path and a pond where ducks hung out, hoping for breadcrumbs. Lucas got out. Victoria followed, looking skeptical. "A park," she said. "A park," Lucas confirmed. "Come on." They walked. The path wound around the pond, through a section of woods, past a playground where kids screamed and parents checked their phones. It was late afternoon, the light going gold and soft. "I bring Emma here sometimes," Lucas said, "when she's been cooped up too long or I need to think. It's quiet. Well, quieter than most places. It's nice." "You sound surprised." "I am. I didn't think you'd bring me somewhere like this." "What did you think I'd do?" "I don't know. Restaurant, coffee shop, somewhere public." "We've done public. I wanted to show you something real." They found a bench near the pond, sat down. A duck swam by, completely unconcerned with their existence. "I come here when I'm stuck," Lucas said. "When a job's going wrong or Emma's having a bad day, or I just need to stop moving for a minute. It helps. Reminds me the world's bigger than whatever I'm stressed about." Victoria leaned back against the bench. "I don't have a place like that." "You should find one." Maybe I just did." Lucas looked at her. She was watching the water, her expression unreadable. "How was Japan really?" he asked. "Productive. We signed the partnership deal. 3 factories converting to our automation systems over the next 18 months. It's huge for the company." "So why don't you sound happy about it?" "Because I am happy about it. I'm just also exhausted and overwhelmed and..." She stopped, started again. I spent 10 days working 16-hour days, eating meals alone in hotel rooms, sleeping 4 hours a night. I closed the deal. I did what I went there to do. But the whole time, I kept thinking about calling you, about these conversations we've been having, and I realized I was more excited about talking to you than I was about signing a multi-million-dollar contract. Billion, Lucas said. You said your company's multi-billion now. Don't deflect. I'm not. I'm just processing. Process faster. Lucas watched the duck swim away. I don't know what to tell you, Victoria. I'm a contractor. I live in a 3-bedroom house that needs a new roof. I have a 4-year-old who still sleeps with a nightlight. I can't compete with your life. I'm not asking you to compete. I'm asking you to be honest with me. About what? About whether this is going anywhere or if we're just killing time until one of us gets bored. Lucas turned to face her. I haven't been bored for a single second since I met you, but I also haven't done this in 7 years. I don't know how to date. I don't know how to introduce someone to my daughter. I don't know how to balance what I want with what's good for Emma. So yeah, I'm moving slow because if I screw this up, it's not just me who gets hurt. I know that. Do you? Because you're used to things happening fast. Closing deals, making decisions, moving forward. I can't move that fast. Victoria stood up. For a second, Lucas thought she was leaving. Instead, she walked to the edge of the pond, stood there with her arms crossed. My ex told me I was too much, she said without turning around. Too driven, too focused on work, too independent. He said I needed to learn how to need people. And when I told him I didn't need anyone, he left. Said I'd die alone and bitter and surrounded by nothing but money. He was wrong. Was he? I work 70 hours a week. I can't remember the last time I had dinner with someone who wasn't a client or colleague. I'm 30 years old, and I've built this entire empire, and I have no one to share it with. Lucas got up, went to stand beside her. You have people, your assistant, your nephews, your employees. That's not the same. I know. They stood there in silence. A breeze came across the water carrying the smell of summer, cut grass and pond water, and something green. I like you, Victoria said quietly. I like talking to you. I like that you're not impressed by my money or my company. I like that you're honest, even when it's uncomfortable. I like that you're a good father. I like all of it, but I don't know how to do this slow. I don't know how to not push forward. Then let me lead, Lucas said. Just this once. Let me set the pace. And if it's too slow for me, then you tell me. We adjust. We figure it out. Victoria looked at him. What's the pace right now? Right now? We keep talking, keep having dinners and phone calls. I introduce you to Emma properly, when the time's right. We see where it goes. That's vague. That's realistic. She almost smiled. You're frustrating. You're terrifying. Good, we're even. They walked back to the car. Victoria drove him back to pick up Emma, and the whole way Lucas kept stealing glances at her, trying to figure out if they'd just moved forward or backward or sideways into something he didn't recognize. Emma was waiting on the front porch of the playdate house, her hair a mess and dirt on her knees. Daddy! She ran to the car, then stopped when she saw Victoria in the driver's seat. Oh, hi. Hi, Emma, Victoria said. Did you have fun? Yeah, we played outside and made mud pies, and Sophia has a dog. Can we get a dog, Daddy? We've talked about this. But Sophia has one. Sophia's parents are braver than I am. Victoria laughed. Emma looked at her, then at Lucas, then back at Victoria. Are you having dinner with us? Emma asked. Lucas opened his mouth to say no, they hadn't planned that. But Victoria spoke first. If your dad says it's okay. Emma turned pleading eyes on Lucas. He should say no. He should keep boundaries clear, not blur the lines between his life with Emma and whatever this thing with Victoria was. Pizza okay? He heard himself say. I like pizza, Victoria said. They got pizza. Cheap pizza from the place down the street that Lucas always ordered from because it was the only one Emma would eat. They ate at Lucas's kitchen table, chipped and scarred from years of use. Emma chattered nonstop about her playdate, about the dog, about preschool and her upcoming graduation and the fancy dress she still needed. I sent your dad some options, Victoria said. Did he show you? Lucas had completely forgotten. He pulled out his phone, found Victoria's email from 3 days ago. 3 dresses, all appropriate for a 4-year-old, all way too expensive. Can I see? Emma asked. Lucas showed her the phone. She studied each dress with intense concentration. This one, she said, pointing to the middle option. A light blue dress with a white ribbon. Like Elsa. Of course, like Elsa, Lucas muttered. I can have that ordered and here by Thursday, Victoria said, if that works. You don't have to do that. I know. I want to. Emma looked at Victoria with new appreciation. You're nice. I like you. I like you too. After dinner, Emma wanted to show Victoria her room. Lucas started to say no, but Victoria was already following Emma up the stairs. He cleaned up the pizza boxes and listened to Emma's voice overhead, explaining her stuffed animals and her toy kitchen and her books. When Victoria came back down, she looked different, softer somehow. She's amazing, Victoria said. She has her moments. You caught her on a good day. Lucas. Victoria stood in the middle of his living room, looking at him with something he couldn't quite name. Thank you for letting me into this. I know it's not easy. It's terrifying, he admitted. But it's also, I don't know, right maybe. It feels right. Yeah, it does. Emma came thundering down the stairs. Victoria, do you want to watch the Ice Princess movie with us? Emma, Victoria probably has to go. I'd love to, Victoria said. So they watched Frozen. Emma sat between them on the couch, singing along to every song. Victoria didn't know the words, but she didn't seem to mind. Lucas kept waiting for the awkwardness, for the moment when this whole thing fell apart. It never came. Halfway through the movie, Emma fell asleep. Lucas carried her up to bed, came back down to find Victoria washing the dishes. You don't have to do that, he said. I know. But you cooked? Well, you ordered pizza. Same principle. Lucas dried while she washed. They worked in silence, comfortable and strange at the same time. This is weird, right? Victoria said. Us. This whole situation. Extremely weird. But good weird? Yeah, good weird. Victoria handed him the last plate. I should go. It's late and Emma's asleep and you're nervous. I'm not nervous. You're washing dishes in a strange man's house at 9 p.m. You're nervous. She dried her hands on the towel. Maybe a little. This isn't what I'm used to. What are you used to? Dinner at expensive restaurants. Careful conversation about safe topics. Going home alone. Repeating the whole thing until someone gets bored. That sounds awful. It is. This is better. Scarier, but better. Lucas walked her to the door. They stood there in the doorway, neither one moving. Can I see you again? Victoria asked. Soon? Yeah, I'd like that. What about Emma? What about her? Are we doing this, including her? Lucas thought about Emma asking Victoria to watch the movie, about the easy way Victoria had talked to her, about how normal it had felt to have all 3 of them in the same room. Let's take it slow, he said. But yeah, if you're okay with that. I'm okay with that. Victoria left. Lucas watched her car disappear down the street, then went inside and sat on the couch where they'd all been an hour ago. The house was quiet again, but this time the quiet felt different, less empty, more like a pause between moments instead of an ending. His phone buzzed. Victoria. Thank you for tonight, for trusting me with Emma. Lucas. Thank you for the dress. You didn't have to do that. Victoria. I wanted to. She's a good kid. Lucas. She liked you. Victoria. I liked her too. And you. I like you. Lucas. Yeah. Same. He put his phone down and went to check on Emma. She was asleep, arms wrapped around her stuffed elephant. Lucas pulled the blanket up over her shoulders, kissed her forehead. What am I doing, kiddo? He whispered. Emma didn't answer. She never did. But this time, Lucas thought maybe he was starting to figure it out anyway. The dress arrived on Thursday, exactly like Victoria had promised. Emma tore open the box in the living room, shrieked when she saw the blue fabric, and immediately demanded to try it on. Lucas helped her into it, fumbling with the zipper, nearly catching her hair twice, and stood back while she spun in circles. I look like a princess, Emma announced. You look beautiful, Lucas said, and meant it. She looked so much like Sarah in that moment it made his throat tight. Emma stopped spinning. Can Victoria see it? Can we send her a picture? I don't know, Em. She's probably working. Please, Daddy, please? Lucas pulled out his phone, took a photo of Emma posing with her hands on her hips, trying to look serious and failing completely. He sent it to Victoria with the caption, "You created a monster." The response came back in under a minute. Victoria, "She's perfect. Tell her I'll see her at graduation tomorrow." Lucas stared at the message, read it twice, then a third time. Lucas, "You're coming to her graduation?" Victoria, "If that's okay. You mentioned it and I thought, I don't know. I thought maybe I could be there." Lucas, "It's a preschool graduation. It's going to be chaos. Crying kids and bad coffee, and someone's going to forget their lines." Victoria, "Sounds perfect." Lucas should have said no, should have maintained boundaries, kept this thing between them separate from Emma's life. But he didn't want to say no. He wanted Victoria there, in the elementary school cafeteria, watching Emma walk across a makeshift stage in her princess dress. Lucas, "Starts at 10. I'll save you a seat." The next morning came too fast. Emma was up at 6, bouncing off the walls with excitement. Lucas made breakfast she didn't eat, helped her into the dress again, did her hair in a braid that looked terrible, but Emma loved. They got to the school 40 minutes early. The cafeteria was already filling up with parents wielding cameras and grandparents carrying flowers. Marcus showed up at 9:30 with coffee and donuts. "Big day," he said, handing Lucas a cup. "She's graduating preschool, not Harvard." "Still counts. Where's Victoria?" "How did you—" "Emma told me on the phone yesterday. Said Victoria bought her the dress and was coming to watch her graduate. Kid's already attached, man." Lucas took a long drink of coffee. "I know. And you're okay with that?" "I don't know what I am, but it's happening anyway." Victoria arrived at 9:50. Lucas spotted her from across the cafeteria, hard to miss in a room full of parents in jeans and t-shirts. She wore slacks and a blazer, looked like she'd come straight from a business meeting, probably had. She scanned the room, found Lucas, smiled. "You made it," Lucas said when she reached him. "I said I would." Victoria looked around at the chaos, kids running, parents shouting, teachers trying desperately to organize. "This is wonderful." "You have a weird definition of wonderful. I have 3 nephews, remember? I know what these things look like." Marcus cleared his throat loudly. Victoria turned, extended her hand. "You must be Marcus, the mastermind behind all of this." "That's me." Marcus shook her hand, grinning like an idiot. "Thanks for not running away screaming when you realized what I'd done." "Thank you for doing it." Lucas needed the push. "Hey," Lucas protested, "I'm right here." "We know," they said in unison. Emma spotted Victoria and came running over, nearly tripping over her dress. You came! Do you like my dress?" "I love it. You look like royalty." "That's what Daddy said. He said I look like Mommy too." Victoria's expression shifted, subtle, but Lucas saw it. The slight tension, the careful neutrality. "I bet your mom was beautiful," Victoria said. "I don't remember her. But Daddy has pictures. She had brown hair like me. And she smiled a lot." Emma grabbed Victoria's hand. "Do you want to sit with us? You can sit next to Daddy. Uncle Marcus is already sitting with his girlfriend, and they're gross." "We're not gross," Marcus called after her. "You hold hands all the time. It's gross." The ceremony started 10 minutes late. 24 4-year-olds in various states of cooperation filed onto the stage. Emma waved at them from her spot in the 3rd row. Lucas waved back. Victoria didn't wave, but she was smiling. The principal gave a speech about bright futures and endless possibilities. The kids sang a song about friendship that half of them didn't know the words to. Parents took approximately 8,000 photos. Emma's class performed a skit about the seasons that involved a lot of construction paper props, and one kid crying because his sun costume was itchy. Then came the diplomas. Each kid walked across the stage to receive a rolled-up piece of paper tied with ribbon. Emma's turn came. She walked carefully in her princess dress, took her diploma from the teacher, stopped at the microphone. "Thank you," she said, clear as anything. "I want to say thank you to my daddy for being the best daddy, and to Uncle Marcus for teaching me bad words I'm not supposed to say, and to Victoria for my dress." The cafeteria laughed. Lucas put his face in his hands. Victoria was laughing too, quiet and genuine. I'm gonna kill her, Lucas muttered. Don't. That was the best part of the whole ceremony. After the diplomas came photos. Marcus insisted on taking approximately 1,000,000 pictures. Emma alone, Emma with Lucas and Marcus, Emma with everyone. Then Emma grabbed Victoria's hand. Can you be in a picture too? Victoria looked at Lucas. He nodded. The photo was awkward. Victoria standing stiffly next to Emma, who was grinning and holding up her diploma. But Emma was happy, and that was enough. The crowd dispersed. Parents loaded their kids into cars, headed off to celebratory lunches. Lucas stood in the parking lot with Emma, Marcus, and Victoria, trying to figure out what happened next. Ice cream, Emma announced. We need ice cream. It's a graduation tradition. Since when? Lucas asked. Since right now. Please, Daddy? Please. Fine, ice cream. Victoria, you want to? I'd love to. They went to the ice cream place on Maple Street. Emma got chocolate with sprinkles. Marcus got something with cookie dough. Lucas got vanilla because he was boring. Victoria ordered mint chip and ate it with more focus than ice cream probably deserved. This is good, she said. It's ice cream. It's supposed to be good. I can't remember the last time I had ice cream. That's tragic. Emma, already halfway through her cone, looked at Victoria seriously. Do you have kids? No, just nephews. Why not? Emma, Lucas warned. What? I'm just asking. Victoria set down her ice cream. I never had time. I was always working, building my company, and now I'm 30, and I don't know if kids are something I still want. You should have kids. You're nice. Thank you. That's very sweet. If you married my daddy, you could be my mom. Then you'd have a kid. Lucas choked on his ice cream. Marcus laughed so hard he nearly fell off his chair. Victoria's expression was unreadable. Emma, Lucas managed, I'm just saying, it would make sense. You like Daddy and Daddy likes you, and I already like you, so we could all just be together. It doesn't work like that, sweetheart. Why not? Because life was complicated. Because Lucas was still figuring out how to move forward without feeling like he was betraying Sarah's memory. Because Victoria had a life that didn't include small-town preschool graduations and cartoon princesses and houses with leaky faucets. Because grown-ups have to take things slow, Lucas said instead. Emma considered this while licking sprinkles off her cone. That's dumb. Probably, but that's how it is. They finished their ice cream. Marcus left. He had a job across town, something about a bathroom remodel. Emma wanted to go to the park. Lucas started to say they should just go home, but Victoria spoke first. I'd like to go to the park. So they went to the park. The same one Lucas had taken Victoria to weeks ago, where they'd sat by the pond and talked about fear and futures. Emma ran straight for the playground, started climbing the equipment with the fearlessness only 4-year-olds possessed. Lucas and Victoria sat on the same bench as before. That was something, Victoria said. The marriage comment. I'm sorry, she doesn't have a filter. Don't apologize, she's 4. She sees her dad spending time with someone and jumps to conclusions. It's normal. Is it freaking you out? Victoria watched Emma hang upside down from the monkey bars. A little, but not in the way you'd think. What way then? I keep thinking about what she said, about it making sense. And the scary part is, it kind of does. Not marriage, we've known each other 6 weeks, but the rest of it. Being part of this. Part of your life, part of her life. Victoria turned to look at him. That shouldn't make sense. I should be running in the opposite direction, but I'm not. Lucas didn't know what to say to that, so he just reached over and took her hand. She laced her fingers through his, and they sat there watching Emma play. I have to go to Chicago next week, Victoria said after a while. 3 days. Board meeting. Okay. Come with me. Lucas looked at her. What? Come to Chicago. Not to the meetings. Those are boring. But we could have dinner, see the city, spend actual time together that isn't interrupted by 4-year-olds or work calls. I can't just leave Emma for 3 days. Can Marcus watch her? Probably, but what? But that feels like a big step, going away together. We've been taking big steps since the night we met, Lucas. This is just another one. He wanted to say yes, wanted it more than he'd wanted anything in a long time, but the guilt was there, sharp and familiar. Sarah had never been to Chicago. They'd planned to go someday, planned to do a lot of things they'd never gotten to do. I need to think about it, he said. Victoria nodded. Okay, think about it. But Lucas? Yeah? Stop punishing yourself. Whatever you're feeling guilty about, whatever voice in your head is telling you you don't deserve this, tell it to shut up. It's not that simple. It never is. But it's also not as complicated as you're making it. Emma came running over, out of breath and grinning. Daddy, can Victoria push me on the swings? Sure, baby, if Victoria doesn't mind. I don't mind. Lucas watched Victoria push Emma on the swings, watched his daughter laugh and kick her legs, watched Victoria smile every time Emma went higher. It looked right. It looked like something that could be permanent if Lucas let it. That night, after Emma was asleep, Lucas pulled out the box from the back of his closet, the one he hadn't opened in 3 years. Inside were wedding photos, Sarah's jewelry, cards she'd written him, all the small pieces of a life that had ended too soon. He found her wedding ring, turned it over in his hands, felt the weight of it. I don't know what to do, he said to the empty room, to Sarah, wherever she was. I like her. I really like her. And Emma likes her. But it feels like if I move forward, I'm leaving you behind. The ring didn't answer. Of course it didn't. Lucas put everything back in the box, shoved it in the closet, went downstairs and called Marcus. You busy? He asked when his brother picked up. Watching TV. What's up? Can you watch Emma next week, Tuesday through Thursday? Yeah, probably. Why? Victoria asked me to go to Chicago with her. Silence. Then, holy shit. Are you going? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. I don't know. Lucas, go. It feels too fast. Everything with you feels too fast because you haven't moved in 3 years. Go to Chicago. Have dinner with a beautiful woman who clearly likes you. Stop overthinking everything. What about Emma? Emma will be fine. We'll make cookies and watch movies, and I'll teach her more bad words. It'll be great. Lucas laughed despite himself. You're terrible. I'm your brother. It's my job. So are you going? Yeah, I think I am. Good. It's about damn time. Lucas texted Victoria after he hung up with Marcus. Lucas, I'll go to Chicago. Victoria, yeah? Lucas, yeah. Marcus will watch it and Emma. What time's your flight? Victoria, Tuesday morning. I'll send you the details. Lucas, okay. Victoria, Lucas? Lucas, yeah? Victoria, thank you for trusting me with this. I know it's not easy. Lucas, nothing about this is easy, but I want to try. Victoria, me too. The week passed in a blur. Lucas finished the kitchen job, started a bathroom remodel, helped Emma with her end-of-year preschool party. He didn't tell Emma about Chicago until Monday night, and even then he kept it vague. I have to go away for a couple days, he said while tucking her in. Uncle Marcus is going to stay with you. Where are you going? Chicago, for work. Is Victoria going too? Lucas hesitated. Yeah, she has meetings there. So you're going together? Yes. Emma thought about this. Are you going to marry her? What? No, Emma, we're friends. Friends who hold hands and go places together and look at each other weird. We don't look at each other weird. You do. It's the same way Uncle Marcus looks at his girlfriend, like she's ice cream or something. Lucas didn't know whether to laugh or panic. I like Victoria, but marriage is a long way off if it ever happens at all. You understand that, right? I guess. But if you did marry her, would she live with us? We're not talking about this right now. But if you did, Emma, bed, sleep, now. She giggled and burrowed under her blankets. Lucas kissed her forehead, turned off the light. Daddy? She said in the darkness. Yeah, baby? I'm glad you're not sad all the time anymore. Lucas stood in the doorway, throat tight. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. Tuesday morning came. Marcus picked up Emma at 7. Lucas drove to the airport, met Victoria at the terminal. She was already there, of course, laptop out and working even though their flight didn't leave for another hour. You made it, she said, closing the laptop. I made it. You sure about this? About Chicago? Yes. About flying? Absolutely not. I'm terrified. Good thing you have me then. They boarded. Victoria took the window seat, which surprised Lucas until he realized she was gripping the armrest hard enough her knuckles were white. "You okay?" he asked. "Fine, totally fine. We're in a metal tube about to be hurled into the sky at 500 miles an hour, but I'm fine." Lucas took her hand. "Talk to me. Tell me about your board meeting." "You don't want to hear about that?" "I do. Distract yourself." So she talked about quarterly earnings and expansion plans and some stockholder who kept asking annoying questions. She talked through takeoff, through the climb to cruising altitude, until finally her grip on his hand loosened. "We're not dead," she said. "We're not dead." "I hate flying." "I know." She leaned her head against his shoulder. "Thank you." "For what?" "For coming. For this. For not thinking I'm ridiculous for being afraid of something I do all the time. Everyone's afraid of something. What are you afraid of?" Lucas thought about it. "Screwing up. With Emma. With you. With everything." "You're not screwing up. You don't know that. I know you're trying. That counts for something." Chicago was bigger than Lucas expected. Taller buildings, more people, more everything. Victoria's hotel was downtown, all glass and marble, and people in suits talking on phones. Lucas felt out of place in his jeans and button-down. "I have meetings until 6, Victoria said in the lobby. "There's a steakhouse 2 blocks away. Meet me there at 7? "I can do that." "What will you do until then?" "I don't know. Walk around, see the city, try not to get lost." She kissed him, quick, professional, like they did this all the time. "Don't get lost." Lucas spent the afternoon wandering, found a bookstore and bought a present for Emma, grabbed lunch at a diner that reminded him of the ones back home, sat in a park, not his park, a different park, and watched people live their lives. His phone rang. Emma, calling for Marcus's number. "Hi, Daddy." "Hey, baby. How's it going?" "Good. Uncle Marcus made pancakes and we watched cartoons and now we're going to the zoo." "That sounds fun. You being good?" "Yes, well, mostly. I only said one bad word and it was an accident." "Emma, I know, I'm sorry. Is Chicago fun?" "It's big, lots of buildings." "Is Victoria there?" "She's at her meetings. I'm exploring." "When are you coming home?" "Thursday night. 2 more days." "Okay, I love you, Daddy." "I love you too, sweetheart. Be good for Uncle Marcus." "I will." She hung up. Lucas sat in the park a while longer, trying to figure out what he was doing. He was in Chicago with a woman he'd known less than 2 months, leaving his daughter with his brother, acting like this was normal. It wasn't normal. It was terrifying. But it was also the most alive he'd felt in 3 years. 7 o'clock found him at the steakhouse. Victoria was already there, still in her work clothes, looking tired. "How were the meetings?" Lucas asked, sliding into the booth across from her. "Endless, tedious, necessary." She rubbed her temples. "How was your day?" "I walked around, bought Emma a book about dinosaurs." "She likes dinosaurs?" "This week she does. Last week it was butterflies. Next week it'll probably be something else." 4-year-olds are fickle. That's a nice way of putting it. They ordered drinks. Wine for Victoria, beer for Lucas. The restaurant was nice, white tablecloths, soft lighting, the kind of place Lucas would never go to on his own. "Thank you for coming," Victoria said. "I know this was a big ask." "It was, but I'm glad I did." "Yeah? Yeah. It's good to step outside my normal life for a minute, see what else is out there." "And what is out there?" "You, apparently," Victoria smiled. "Smooth. I try." Dinner was good, better than good. They talked about everything and nothing. Emma's preschool drama, Victoria's difficult colleagues, the book Lucas was reading, the show Victoria was binge-watching when she had time. It was easy, comfortable, like they'd been doing this for years instead of weeks. After dinner, they walked. Chicago at night was different from the daytime city, louder, brighter, more alive. Victoria showed him the building where her company's Chicago office was, pointed out restaurants she liked, and places she'd been. "You know this city well," Lucas said. "I'm here a lot, too much probably." "Do you ever get tired of it? The traveling, the meetings, all of it?" Victoria stopped walking. They were on a bridge overlooking the river, lights reflecting off the water. "All the time," she admitted. "But I don't know how to stop. This is what I built. This is who I am." "You're more than your company." Am I? Sometimes I'm not sure. Lucas turned to face her. You bought my daughter a dress because she wanted to look like a princess? You came to her preschool graduation, you push her on swings and eat ice cream and watch terrible cartoons without complaining. That's who you are. Not the meetings or the board members or any of it. That. Victoria's eyes were shining. You see the best in people. I see what's there. She kissed him. Not the quick professional kiss from the lobby, but real and deep and full of everything they'd been dancing around for weeks. Lucas kissed her back, not caring that they were on a bridge in the middle of Chicago with people walking past. When they pulled apart, Victoria was smiling. Come upstairs, she said. Victoria, I'm not asking for anything except company. I'm asking you to spend time with me. Is that okay? Lucas thought about Emma, safe with Marcus. About Sarah, gone 3 years and not coming back. About his own life, paused for so long he'd forgotten what moving forward felt like. Yeah, he said. That's okay. They went back to the hotel. Up to Victoria's room on the 23rd floor, all windows and city lights. Lucas stood looking out at Chicago while Victoria kicked off her heels, loosened her hair. This is your life, Lucas said. Hotels and cities and everything moving all the time. It doesn't have to be. What do you mean? Victoria came to stand next to him at the window. I mean, I'm tired. I'm tired of sleeping in hotels and eating alone and building something that never feels finished. I thought this was what I wanted. Empire, success, proof that I could do it. But I'm not happy. What would make you happy? This, you, Emma, normal things, small things. She laughed, but it sounded sad. I sound ridiculous. 6 weeks ago I would have laughed at anyone who said that. What changed? You did. You and your daughter, and your terrible house with the leaky faucet, and your brother who can't keep secrets. You showed me what I was missing. Lucas pulled her close. She fit against him like she belonged there. I'm scared, he said into her hair. Of what? Of moving too fast. Of screwing this up. Of Emma getting attached and then you realizing this isn't what you want after all. I'm scared too. But Lucas, she pulled back to look at him. I want this. I want you. I want movie nights and ice cream dates and preschool graduations. I want the whole messy, complicated thing. I know it's fast and I know it's terrifying, but I want it anyway. What about your company, your life? I'll figure it out. Delegate more, travel less, make it work. She cupped his face in her hands. If you're willing to try. Lucas thought about Emma's question, about whether Victoria would live with them if they got married, about what his life could look like if he let himself want something beyond just surviving each day. I want to try, he said. But I need you to understand, Emma comes first, always. If this doesn't work, if she's not okay with it, that's the end. I know. And I'm going to mess up a lot. I haven't done this in years and I don't know what I'm doing. Neither do I. We'll mess up together. Lucas kissed her, soft at first, then deeper. Victoria's hands tangled in his hair, and his hands found her waist, and they ended up on the couch, wrapped around each other, the city lights painting patterns across the ceiling. Later, much later, Lucas's phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Marcus, Emma's asleep. All good here. Stop worrying and enjoy yourself. Lucas, how do you know I'm worrying? Marcus, because you're you. Relax. Everything's fine. Lucas showed Victoria the messages. She smiled. See? Everything's fine. For now. That's all we've got. Now, let's make it count. They fell asleep on the couch, the TV playing quietly in the background, Victoria's head on his chest, and Lucas's arm around her shoulders. When Lucas woke up at 3 a.m., disoriented and stiff, he found Victoria still asleep, peaceful in a way he'd never seen her. He thought about waking her, suggesting they move to the bed. Instead, he just held her closer and went back to sleep, thinking that maybe, possibly, this could actually work. Morning came with sunlight streaming through the hotel windows, and Victoria's phone buzzing with what had to be the 100th work email. Lucas woke to find her already up, dressed in slacks and a blouse, makeup on, all traces of the softness from last night carefully tucked away. You're up early, he said, voice rough from sleep. Board meeting in an hour. I have to go. She sat on the edge of the couch, ran her fingers through his hair. There's coffee. Room service menu is on the desk. Order whatever you want. When will you be done? 4, maybe 5. These things always run long. She leaned down, kissed him. I'll text you. Then she was gone, and Lucas was alone in a hotel room that cost more per night than his mortgage payment. He ordered breakfast, took a shower, tried to figure out what to do with himself for the next 8 hours. His phone rang. Emma, again. Daddy, Uncle Marcus says we can get donuts for breakfast. That's fine, baby. Are you having fun in Chicago? Yeah, it's good. When are you coming home? Tomorrow night, remember? One more day. I miss you. Lucas's chest tightened. I miss you too, sweetheart. More than anything. Is Victoria being nice to you? Very nice. Why? Because if she's not nice, you should tell her to stop. That's what you tell me when kids are mean at school. Lucas smiled despite the guilt creeping in. I'll remember that. You be good for Uncle Marcus, okay? I will. Love you, Daddy. Love you too. He hung up and immediately called Marcus. Is she okay? Lucas asked without preamble. She's fine. Great, actually. We're having a blast. She said she misses me. Of course she misses you. You're her dad, but she's not falling apart or anything. Stop worrying. I left her for 3 days to go away with a woman I've known for 6 weeks. You left her with her uncle, who loves her to spend time with someone who makes you happy. There's a difference. Is there? Lucas, listen to me. You're allowed to have a life outside of being Emma's dad. You're allowed to be happy. Sarah would want that. The mention of Sarah hit harder than Lucas expected. You don't know what Sarah would want. Yeah, I do. She was my friend too, remember? Before she was your wife. And I know she wouldn't want you putting your life on hold forever. She'd kick your ass for that. Lucas sat on the edge of the bed, phone pressed to his ear. I feel guilty. All the time. Like if I'm happy, I'm forgetting her. You're not forgetting her, you're living. There's a difference. Doesn't feel like it. I know, but it is. Marcus was quiet for a moment. How's Victoria? Terrified. A flying, of this thing between us, of everything. But she's trying anyway. Sounds like someone else I know. Shut up. I'm just saying, you two are perfect for each other, both scared out of your minds and doing it anyway. Lucas spent the day walking around Chicago, found a museum, spent 2 hours looking at paintings he didn't understand, grabbed lunch at a sandwich shop, sat in Millennium Park watching tourists take photos of the bean sculpture. His phone buzzed around 3. Victoria. Meeting's running late. Dinner at 8? Lucas. Sure, same place as last night? Victoria. Let's try somewhere new. I'll send you the address. The restaurant was Italian, tucked into a side street Lucas never would have found on his own. Victoria was already there when he arrived, still in her work clothes, but her hair was down and she looked exhausted. Long meeting? Lucas asked, sliding into the booth. Interminable. 3 hours of arguing about market projections and risk assessment. She rubbed her eyes. I need wine. Lots of wine. They ordered. Victoria got something with pasta and vodka sauce. Lucas got chicken parmesan because that's what he always got at Italian places. The wine came fast. Tell me about your day, Victoria said after her first glass. Something that doesn't involve quarterly earnings or board members. So he told her about the museum and the park and the sandwich that was just okay, about calling Emma and Marcus, reassuring him everything was fine, about sitting in the park thinking about how different his life looked now compared to 6 weeks ago. Different good or different bad? Victoria asked. Different terrifying, but good, I think. You think? I'm still figuring it out. Victoria reached across the table, took his hand. Me too. They ate. The restaurant filled up around them. Couples on dates, families with kids, groups of friends, normal people living normal lives. Lucas wondered if any of them were as confused as he was. I've been thinking, Victoria said, pushing her half-eaten pasta around, about what I said last night, about wanting this whole thing with you and Emma. Lucas's stomach dropped. And I meant it, but I need you to understand what you'd be getting into. With me. With my life. I know what I'm getting into. Do you? Because it's not just the traveling and the long hours. It's the pressure, the constant scrutiny, people wanting things from me all the time. My ex couldn't handle it. Most people can't. I'm not most people. I know. But Lucas, She set down her fork. I'm not easy to be with. I work too much. I'm controlling. I have trouble letting people in. And when things get hard, my instinct is to work more, not deal with the problem. Okay. Okay? That's all you have to say? Lucas squeezed her hand. You're scared. I get it. I'm scared too. But I'm not running. Not yet, anyway. What if I screw this up? Then you screw it up. We deal with it. We figure it out. Victoria laughed, but it sounded shaky. You make it sound so simple. It's not, but it's also not as impossible as you're making it. They finished dinner, walked back to the hotel through streets that were getting familiar, up to Victoria's room where Lucas had left his stuff that morning. Victoria kicked off her heels, collapsed on the couch. I hate board meetings, she said to the ceiling. Then stop having them. Can't. Comes with the job. Lucas sat next to her. What if you delegated more? Like you said, hired a COO or something. I've thought about it, but giving up control is hard. Everything's hard doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Victoria turned to look at him. When did you get so wise? I'm not wise. I'm just a guy who's been stuck in one place for 3 years trying to figure out how to move forward without falling apart. And have you? Figured it out? No, but I'm working on it. They sat in comfortable silence. Outside, Chicago was alive with noise and light. Inside, it was just the two of them, trying to figure out what they were doing. Come here, Victoria said, pulling him closer. Lucas went, wrapped his arms around her, felt her relax against him. I don't want to go back, she murmured into his shoulder. To your life? To the way things were, before you, before I knew what I was missing. Then don't. It's not that simple. Sure it is. You just decide, make the change, do the thing. You're oversimplifying. Probably. But someone has to, because you're overcomplicating. Victoria pulled back to look at him. I want to meet Emma, properly, not just at graduations or ice cream shops. I want to be part of her life, part of your life, for real. Lucas felt his heart rate pick up. That's a big step. I know, too big? He thought about Emma asking if Victoria was going to be her new mom, about how easily Victoria had fit into that preschool graduation, into their chaotic ice cream celebration, about how right it had felt to have all three of them together. No, he said. Not too big, just scary. Everything's scary. Yeah, but we're doing it anyway, right? Right. They fell asleep on the couch again. Lucas was starting to think Victoria didn't actually use the bed, just worked and crashed on the couch and called that sleeping. When he woke up at 2 a.m., his neck was stiff and Victoria was snoring softly against his chest. He thought about waking her, suggesting they move to the actual bed, but she looked peaceful and he didn't want to break that, so he just held her closer and went back to sleep. Thursday came too fast. Victoria had one more meeting, short, she promised, just an hour. Lucas packed both their bags, ordered room service breakfast, tried not to think about going home and what came next. Victoria got back at noon, frazzled and frustrated. Everything okay? Lucas asked. They want me in Singapore next month. Full week, maybe more. Can you say no? Not really. It's a major expansion opportunity. She sat heavily on the couch. But it means more time away, more hotels and flights, and everything I just said I was tired of. So delegate, hire that COO. Let someone else go. It's not that simple. Stop saying that. It is that simple. You're choosing not to do it. Victoria looked at him sharply. Excuse me? You heard me? You keep saying you want to change, want a different life, want this thing with me and Emma, but you won't actually make the changes that would make that possible. You're hiding behind work because it's easier than dealing with what you actually want. That's not fair, isn't it? They stared at each other. Lucas waited for her to get angry, to tell him he was out of line. Instead, her shoulders sagged. You're right, she said quietly. I am hiding. I've been doing it for years. Work is safe, predictable. I know how to be good at it. And this? Us? This is terrifying because I could screw it up. I probably will screw it up, and that's harder to face than another board meeting. Lucas sat down next to her. You're going to screw up. I'm going to screw up. Emma's going to have days where she hates that you're around. It's going to be messy and complicated and nothing like what you're used to. That's not a great sales pitch. I'm not trying to sell you on it. I'm trying to be honest. This isn't going to be easy. But if you want it, if you really want it, you have to choose it. Over work, over control, over being safe. Victoria was quiet for a long time. Then, I want it. I'm just scared I'll choose wrong. There's no wrong choice, just different ones. But Victoria, he took her hand. If you choose us, you have to actually choose us. Not halfway. Not when it's convenient. All in. What about Singapore? What about it? If I don't go, they'll think I'm not committed. Are you? Committed to the company the same way you were before? She didn't answer right away. Lucas watched her process, saw the conflict play out across her face. No, she said finally. I'm not. Not anymore. Then send someone else. Hire the COO. Start making the changes you said you wanted. And if it all falls apart, then it falls apart. But at least you tried. Their flight home was at 4. They checked out of the hotel, took a cab to the airport. Victoria was quiet the whole way, staring out the window at the city passing by. At the gate, she turned to Lucas. I'm going to do it. Hire a COO. Cut back my travel. Actually try to have a life outside of work. Yeah? Yeah. Because you're right. I've been hiding, and I'm tired of it. Lucas kissed her. Good. That's good. The flight was rough. Turbulence over Indiana that had Victoria gripping the armrest and Lucas's hand simultaneously. He talked to her through it. About nothing. About everything. About Emma's upcoming summer plans and the bathroom remodel he was starting next week, and whether they should get Thai food or pizza for dinner. We're having dinner together? Victoria asked, white-knuckled but trying to smile. If you want. Emma's expecting you. I might have told her you were coming over. You did? She asked. I couldn't lie. What did you tell her exactly? That you're my girlfriend, and you're important to me, and she's going to see you around more often. Victoria's eyes went wide. You said girlfriend? Was that wrong? Should I have said lady friend? Woman I'm seeing? Person I'm dating? No, girlfriend is good, just unexpected. Everything about this is unexpected. They landed without dying, which Victoria said was a miracle, and Lucas said was statistics. Marcus was waiting at Lucas's house with Emma when they got there. Emma saw Victoria and immediately launched into a detailed explanation of everything she and Uncle Marcus had done for 3 whole days. And we made cookies, but I ate too many and my tummy hurt. But then it was okay, and we watched 4 movies, and Uncle Marcus said a bad word when he dropped the milk, and I didn't say it. I promise. Breathe, Em, Lucas said. Emma took a dramatic breath. I missed you, Daddy. And Victoria, I'm glad you're here. Are you staying for dinner? If that's okay with you. It's okay, we're having pizza. Daddy always gets pizza when he doesn't want to cook. Emma, Lucas warned. What? It's true. They ordered pizza. Marcus left, claimed he had plans, but Lucas suspected he just wanted to give them space. Emma insisted on showing Victoria her room again, this time with a full inventory of every stuffed animal and their names and backstories. This one is Mr. Elephant. He's scared of the dark, so he sleeps with me. And this is Princess Sparkle. She's a unicorn, but she acts like a horse. And this one, Lucas listened from downstairs, heard Victoria asking questions, and Emma answering enthusiastically. It sounded right. Natural, like Victoria had always been part of this. When they came back down, Emma was carrying a book. Will you read to me? She asked Victoria. Before bed? Lucas started to intervene. That was his job, his routine with Emma. But Victoria was already saying yes, already settling on the couch with Emma curled up next to her. He watched them from the kitchen, watched Victoria read about dragons and princesses with Emma hanging on every word. Watched his daughter laugh at the funny voices Victoria did, watched her get sleepy as the story went on. By the end of the book, Emma was yawning. Bedtime, Lucas announced. But Daddy, no buts. It's late and you've had a big 3 days. Emma hugged Victoria goodnight, tight and genuine. Will you come back? If your dad says it's okay. Daddy, is it okay? Lucas looked at Victoria. She looked back, hopeful and uncertain. Yeah, he said. It's okay. He carried Emma upstairs, got her into pajamas, tucked her in with Mr. Elephant. I like Victoria, Emma said sleepily. She does good voices. She does. Is she going to be around a lot? Probably. Would that be okay? Emma thought about it with the seriousness only a 4-year-old could manage. Yeah, as long as she keeps doing the voices. I'll let her know. Daddy? Yeah, baby? I'm glad you're not sad anymore. Lucas kissed her forehead. Me too, sweetheart. Me too. When he came back downstairs, Victoria was standing by the mantel, looking at the photos there. Wedding photos. Photos of Sarah. Photos of a life that had ended 3 years ago. That's her, Lucas said unnecessarily. She was beautiful. Yeah, she was. Victoria touched the frame gently. I'm not trying to replace her. I want you to know that. I know. But I also can't compete with a memory. I need you to know that too. Lucas came to stand beside her. You're not competing. You're just different. Both things can be true. Can they? They have to. Because I loved Sarah. I'll always love her. She gave me Emma and 3 good years, and I wouldn't trade that for anything. But she's gone. And you're here. And He stopped. Started again. I'm starting to love you too. And that's okay. Both things can be true. Victoria turned to look at him, eyes shining. You love me? I'm starting to. Is that okay? Yeah, it's okay. She wiped her eyes. I'm starting to love you too. You and Emma. This whole messy, complicated thing. Lucas pulled her into a hug. She held on tight, like she was afraid he'd disappear. What happens now? She asked into his shoulder. Now? We figure it out day by day. That's vague. That's all I've got. They stood there in Lucas's living room, surrounded by photos of the past and the uncertain promise of the future. Emma was asleep upstairs. Chicago was 1,000 miles away. Everything was messy and complicated and nothing like what either of them had planned. But it was real. And that was enough. Victoria left around 10. Lucas walked her to her car, kissed her goodnight. I'm going to start interviewing for a COO next week, she said. And I'm going to tell the board I'm not going to Singapore. Yeah? Yeah, because you're right. If I want this, I have to choose it. All in. That's scary. Everything's scary, but we're doing it anyway. Lucas watched her drive away, then went back inside. The house was quiet, but not empty. Not anymore. He checked on Emma. Still asleep, mister. Elephant clutched tight. Went to his own room and stood looking at Sarah's photo on the nightstand. I hope this is okay, he said to the photo, to Sarah, to the universe. I hope you understand. The photo didn't answer, but for the first time in 3 years, Lucas felt like maybe it would be okay anyway. His phone buzzed. Victoria. Thank you for Chicago, for everything. Lucas. Thank you for not running away screaming. Victoria. I thought about it a few times. Lucas. Same. Victoria. But we're still here. Lucas. Yeah, we're still here. Victoria. I'm seeing you tomorrow, right? Lucas. If you want. Emma's got a play date in the afternoon, but we're free in the morning. Victoria. Breakfast? The 3 of us? Lucas stared at the message. Breakfast. The 3 of them. Like a family. Lucas. Yeah, breakfast sounds good. Victoria. See you at 9? Lucas. See you at 9. He put his phone down and got ready for bed. Tomorrow would bring new complications, new fears, new things to figure out. But tonight, Lucas felt something he hadn't felt in 3 years. Hope. And that was terrifying and wonderful and everything he'd been afraid to let himself feel. But he was feeling it anyway, because Victoria was right. Everything was scary. But they were doing it anyway. And somehow, impossibly, that was enough. Breakfast didn't happen at 9. It happened at 9:45 because Emma woke up with opinions about what to wear, and Lucas couldn't find his keys, and Victoria texted that she was running late because of a work call she couldn't avoid. By the time they all sat down at the diner on 5th Street, Lucas had already apologized twice, and Emma had already asked for chocolate chip pancakes 3 times. This is chaos, Victoria said, sliding into the booth across from them. This is normal, Lucas corrected. Welcome to breakfast with a 4-year-old. Emma was on her best behavior for exactly 12 minutes. She sat nicely, ordered her pancakes politely, even used her napkin once. Then she spilled orange juice all over the table and started crying because her sleeve got wet. It's okay, baby, Lucas said, sopping up juice with napkins. Accidents happen. But my shirt is ruined. It's not ruined. We'll wash it when we get home. Victoria pulled off her blazer and handed it to Emma. Here, put this on until your shirt dries. Emma stopped crying long enough to consider this. The blazer was enormous on her, sleeves hanging past her hands, hem dragging on the booth seat. She looked ridiculous and didn't care at all. I look like a businesswoman, she announced. You look like you're playing dress-up in your dad's closet, Lucas said. No, I look professional, like Victoria. Victoria was trying not to laugh. Failing, but trying. Very professional? You could run a meeting? What's a meeting? Something very boring that adults have to do. Then I don't want one. Breakfast improved after that. Emma ate her pancakes and told Victoria about her upcoming playdate with Sophia, the girl with the dog. Lucas ate eggs and tried not to worry about the bathroom remodel starting Monday. Victoria picked at her fruit and checked her phone approximately every 3 minutes until Lucas gave her a look. Sorry, she said, putting the phone face down. Habit. It's Saturday morning. I know. I'm working on it. Work harder. Emma was watching them with interest. Are you guys fighting? No, sweetheart, just talking. It looks like fighting. Uncle Marcus and his girlfriend fight like that. Then they kiss and it's gross. We're not going to kiss at the table, Lucas said firmly. Good, because that would be so gross. After breakfast, they went to the park. The same park Lucas had been bringing Emma to for years. The same park he'd brought Victoria to months ago. Emma ran straight for the playground, started climbing before Lucas could tell her to be careful. Victoria sat on their bench. Lucas sat next to her. She's got energy, Victoria observed. Always. I don't know where she gets it. How are you doing? Really doing? Lucas watched Emma hang upside down from the monkey bars. Tired, scared, happy. All of it at once. That's a lot. Yeah, but it's better than being numb. Victoria leaned against his shoulder. I hired a recruiting firm for the COO position. They're starting interviews next week. That's good. And I told the board I'm not going to Singapore. Sent my VP instead. They weren't happy. How unhappy? Very. But they'll get over it, or they won't. Either way, I'm done apologizing for wanting a life. Lucas kissed the top of her head. I'm proud of you. Don't be. I should have done this years ago. Better late than never. They sat in comfortable silence, watching Emma play. Other families filled the park, parents pushing strollers, kids kicking soccer balls, couples walking dogs. Normal Saturday morning chaos. Lucas had been part of this scene for years, but always on the outside. Always just him and Emma against the world. Now Victoria was here. And it felt different, less lonely, more like something sustainable. Daddy, Emma called from the top of the slide. Watch me. Lucas waved. Emma went down the slide, landed hard at the bottom, jumped up grinning. Did it again and again and again. She doesn't get tired of that, Lucas said. Kids don't. That's their superpower. What's your superpower? Victoria thought about it. Stubbornness. I don't quit even when I should. That's a good superpower. What about you? I show up. Even when it's hard. Even when I don't know what I'm doing, I just show up. That's better than good. That's everything. Emma came running over, out of breath and sweaty. Can we get ice cream? We just had breakfast, Lucas said, but I'm hot. It's barely 70 degrees. I'm emotionally hot. Victoria burst out laughing. Where did she learn that? Uncle Marcus, Lucas and Emma said simultaneously. They got ice cream anyway because Lucas was a pushover, and Victoria didn't help by immediately siding with Emma. The ice cream shop was crowded. Apparently everyone in the city had the same idea. They sat outside at a wobbly metal table, eating their cones and watching people walk by. I like this, Emma said through a mouthful of chocolate. All of us together. Lucas waited for the other shoe to drop, for Emma to ask the hard questions, to wonder where Victoria fit, to bring up Sarah. But she just kept eating her ice cream, content and happy. Me too, Victoria said quietly. I like this too. The playdate at Sophia's house was at 2. Lucas dropped Emma off, promised to pick her up at 5, and drove back to find Victoria waiting on his front porch. You didn't have to stay, he said. I know, but I wanted to talk to you, without little ears listening. Lucas unlocked the door. They went inside, and Victoria immediately started pacing. Okay, she said. I need to say something, and I need you to let me finish before you respond. That's terrifying. I know, but just let me talk. Lucas sat on the couch, waited. Victoria took a breath. I've been thinking about what you said, about choosing this, all in, and I want to. I really want to. But I need you to understand what that means for me. Okay? It means restructuring my entire life, delegating things I've never trusted anyone else to do, setting boundaries with my board, learning how to not work 70 hours a week. And I don't know if I can do all that. I don't know if I know how. So we figure it out together. But what if I can't? What if I try and fail and fall back into old patterns? Then you try again. Victoria, I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm just asking you to try. She stopped pacing. What if trying isn't enough? It will be, because you're not doing this alone. Victoria sat next to him, took his hands. I'm scared I'm going to screw this up. With you, with Emma, with everything. You're going to screw some things up. That's guaranteed, so am I. We'll screw up together and figure it out and keep going. How are you so calm about this? I'm not calm. I'm terrified. But I'm also tired of being afraid to live because I might mess up. Victoria rested her head on his shoulder. I talked to my therapist yesterday. Lucas tried to hide his surprise. You have a therapist? Started seeing her 2 years ago. Mostly about work stress, but lately we've been talking about other things. About you. About what I want my life to look like. And she said I have a pattern of choosing work over relationships because work is predictable, controllable. Relationships aren't. Sounds right. She also said if I keep doing that, I'm going to wake up at 50 and realize I built an empire but never built a life. Also sounds right. You're not helpful. I'm honest. There's a difference. Victoria pulled back to look at him. She asked me what I wanted, not what I thought I should want, or what made logical sense, what I actually wanted. What did you tell her? I told her I wanted Saturday morning breakfast with spilled orange juice. I wanted playground visits and ice cream dates. I wanted to read bedtime stories and do silly voices. I wanted you and Emma and this chaotic, messy thing we're building. Lucas felt his throat get tight. Yeah? Yeah. And then I cried in her office for 20 minutes because wanting those things felt like admitting I'd wasted years of my life chasing the wrong things. You didn't waste anything. You built something incredible. But I did it alone, and I'm tired of being alone. Lucas pulled her close. Then stop. Be with us. For real. What does that look like? I don't know exactly, but maybe it looks like you being here more, having dinner with us, doing normal things. Maybe eventually it looks like... He stopped. Like what? Lucas took a breath. Like you moving in, not now, but someday. Like Emma having someone besides me to depend on. Like building an actual family instead of just dating. Victoria was quiet for a long moment. That's a lot. I know. Too much? No, just scary, but good scary. Everything's scary. But we're doing it anyway, Victoria finished. I know, you keep saying that. Because it keeps being true. They sat there on Lucas's couch, in his house that needed a new roof, with photos of Sarah on the mantle and Emma's toys scattered across the floor. It wasn't perfect, it was messy and complicated and nothing like what either of them had planned. But it was real, and that made it worth it. Victoria's phone rang. She looked at it, declined the call. Work? Lucas asked. My VP, about Singapore. It can wait. You sure? Positive. I'm here, with you. That's what matters. Lucas kissed her. Soft and sweet and full of promises neither of them were sure they could keep, but were willing to try anyway. Stay for dinner, he said. We'll pick up Emma and order Chinese and watch whatever movie she's obsessed with this week. I'd love that. The weeks after Chicago blurred together in a way that felt both fast and achingly slow. Victoria came over for dinner 3 times a week, then 4. Then she stopped going home some nights, sleeping on Lucas's couch because it was late, and she was tired and the drive across town seemed pointless. Emma adjusted faster than Lucas expected. She started setting 3 plates at dinner without being asked. Started including Victoria in her bedtime routine. 1 story from Daddy, 1 from Victoria, then lights out. Started calling Victoria by name instead of Daddy's friend or the lady. But it wasn't smooth. Nothing was ever smooth. The first real fight came 6 weeks after Chicago. Lucas was installing tile in a bathroom across town, running late because the homeowners kept changing their minds. Emma was with Victoria, who'd taken the afternoon off to pick her up from preschool. Lucas got home at 7 to find Victoria in the kitchen, Emma already in pajamas, both of them looking tense. "What happened?" Lucas asked. "Nothing," Victoria said too quickly. "Emma?" Emma crossed her arms. "Victoria said I couldn't have cookies before dinner." "Okay, and?" "And I wanted cookies, so I said she's not my mom and she can't tell me what to do." Lucas closed his eyes. "Emma." "What? It's true. She's not my mom. That doesn't mean you get to be rude to her, but—" "No buts. Apologize." Emma's face crumpled. "I don't want to. I don't care. Apologize. Now." "I'm sorry," Emma muttered, not looking at Victoria. "Look at her when you say it." Emma raised her eyes. "I'm sorry, Victoria." Victoria's expression was carefully neutral. "It's okay. Thank you for apologizing." Lucas sent Emma upstairs to her room, turned to Victoria. "I'm sorry about that." "Don't be. She's right. I'm not her mom. I overstepped." "You didn't overstep. You told her no cookies before dinner. That's completely reasonable. But I don't have the authority to do that. Not really. Not if she doesn't see me that way." Lucas sat at the kitchen table. "What do you want me to say?" "I don't know. Victoria sat across from him. "This is harder than I thought it would be. The whole stepmom thing, or potential stepmom thing, or whatever I am." "You're Victoria. That's enough." "Is it?" "Because Emma made it pretty clear it's not. She's 4. She's testing boundaries. It doesn't mean anything. It means she doesn't see me as someone with authority over her. Which is fine, I guess. But it also makes me wonder what I'm doing here." Lucas reached across the table, took her hand. "You're here because we want you here. Because I want you here. Emma will come around." "Will she? Or will I always be the outsider trying to fit into something that was fine without me?" "It wasn't fine. We were surviving. That's not the same as fine." Victoria pulled her hand back. I should go." "Don't. Stay. We'll talk this out." "I can't. I need to think." She left. Lucas sat in the kitchen, staring at the spot where she'd been, feeling like something had just broken and he didn't know how to fix it. Emma came downstairs an hour later, eyes red from crying. "Is Victoria mad at me?" she asked. "No, baby. She's not mad. But she left. She needed to go home. She'll be back." "Are you sure?" Lucas wasn't sure of anything. "Yeah, I'm sure." Victoria didn't answer his text that night, or his call the next morning. Lucas tried not to panic, tried to give her space, tried to believe she was just processing and not running away. She showed up Saturday morning. Lucas opened the door to find her on the porch, looking like she hadn't slept. "Can we talk?" she asked. "Yeah, come in." Emma was at Marcus's for the morning. Lucas had called in emergency backup because he couldn't deal with parenting and relationship crisis simultaneously. They sat in the living room, the same room where they'd had breakfast that first Saturday, where everything had felt possible. "I'm sorry I disappeared," Victoria said. That wasn't fair." "What's going on?" "I've been thinking about what Emma said, about me not being her mom. And she's right. I'm not. I'm never going to be. Nobody's asking you to be Sarah. I know, but I'm also not asking to be some peripheral person in Emma's life. If we're going to do this, I need to be an actual parent figure, not just Daddy's girlfriend who shows up for the fun parts." "Okay, so we make that clear to Emma." "But what if she doesn't accept it? What if she never sees me that way?" Lucas thought about his daughter, about how she'd adjusted to Sarah's death, to the new normal, to every change that had been forced on her. "She'll accept it. It'll take time, but she'll get there." "How do you know?" "Because she wants you around. She asks about you when you're not here. She lights up when you walk through the door. The mom comment was just her being scared. Of change. Of what it means if she accepts you. Victoria wiped her eyes. I don't know how to be a parent. I don't know what I'm doing. Neither do I. I'm making it up as I go. That's not reassuring. It's honest. Victoria, this isn't going to be perfect. Emma's going to push back. She's going to test you. She's going to say things that hurt. But if you run every time it gets hard, we're never going to make this work. I'm not running. Aren't you? You disappeared for 2 days because a 4-year-old told you you're not her mom. Victoria flinched. That's not fair. It's true, and I get it. This is scary. But you have to decide if you're in or out. Because I can't do this halfway. Emma can't do this halfway. I'm in, Victoria said immediately. I want to be in. I just don't know how to do it right. There is no right. There's just showing up and trying and screwing up and trying again. Victoria laughed, but it sounded wet. You make it sound so simple. It's not simple, but it's also not impossible. They sat in silence. Outside, a car drove by. Someone mowed their lawn. Life continued, indifferent to their crisis. What do I do? Victoria asked. When she pushes back again. When she tells me I don't get to make rules or tell her what to do. You stand your ground. You tell her that you love her and you're not going anywhere, and while you're not her mom, you're still an adult in her life who cares about her. And then you enforce the boundary anyway. And if she hates me for it, she won't. She might be mad temporarily. But kids need boundaries. They need to know adults are going to hold the line even when it's hard. Victoria nodded slowly. Okay, I can do that. Yeah? Yeah, I can do that. Lucas pulled her into a hug. She held on tight, like she was afraid to let go. I'm sorry, she said into his shoulder, for disappearing, for not handling this better. You're handling it the best you can. That's enough. When Emma came home that afternoon, Victoria was still there. Emma stopped in the doorway, uncertain. Hi, she said quietly. Hi, Victoria said back. Are you still mad about the cookie thing? I was never mad, but I do need to talk to you about what you said. Emma looked at Lucas. He nodded encouragement. Victoria knelt down to Emma's level. You're right. I'm not your mom. I'm never going to be your mom, and I'm not trying to replace her. But I am someone who cares about you very much. And when I tell you no cookies before dinner, or bedtime is at 8, or you need to clean up your toys, I need you to listen. Not because I'm your mom, but because I'm an adult who loves you and wants what's best for you. Can you do that? Emma thought about it with the intense focus only 4-year-olds could manage. I guess so. Thank you. And Emma? I'm not going anywhere. Even when you're mad at me, even when we disagree, I'm still going to be here, okay? Okay. Emma paused. Can I have a cookie now? Victoria laughed. After dinner. That's what Daddy always says. That's because your daddy is smart. Life settled into a new rhythm after that. Victoria came over most nights. Started keeping clothes at Lucas's house, a toothbrush in the bathroom, her laptop on the kitchen table. Started being part of the routine instead of a visitor. Emma tested boundaries for another month, told Victoria she couldn't tell her what to wear, couldn't make her eat vegetables, couldn't send her to bed. Every time Victoria held the line, calm, consistent, loving, but firm. And slowly, gradually, Emma stopped fighting. 3 months after Chicago, Victoria's COO started. His name was David. He had 20 years of experience, and within 2 weeks, he'd taken over most of Victoria's travel schedule. She cut her work hours from 70 to 50, then to 40, started having weekends, started being present. 6 months after Chicago, Lucas came home to find Victoria and Emma making cookies. Actual cookies from scratch, with flour everywhere and Emma covered in chocolate chips. What's this? He asked. We're baking, Emma announced. Victoria's teaching me. I didn't know you baked. I don't, Victoria said. We're learning together. It's going terribly. The cookies were burned on the bottom and raw in the middle. They ate them anyway. 8 months after Chicago, Emma had a nightmare. She came into Lucas's room at 2 a.m., crying about monsters under her bed. Lucas started to get up, but Victoria was faster. I've got her, she said. Lucas listened from bed as Victoria carried Emma back to her room, heard the soft murmur of voices, the sound of Victoria singing something off-key and gentle. When Victoria came back 20 minutes later, she was smiling. "She's asleep," Victoria said, climbing back into bed. "What did you sing?" "Some lullaby my mom used to sing. I probably butchered it, but Emma didn't seem to mind." Lucas pulled her close. "You're good at this. The whole mom thing." "Stepmom thing," Victoria corrected. "There's a difference." "Still good at it. I'm trying. That's all I can do." 10 months after Chicago, Victoria sat Lucas down at the kitchen table. "I have something to ask you," she said. "Okay. My lease is up next month. I could renew it, or—" She stopped, started again. "Or I could not. I could move in here. Officially. If you want." Lucas felt his heart speed up. "What about your loft?" "It's just a place to sleep. This is a home. You and Emma are my home." "That's a big step." "I know. Too big?" Lucas thought about the past 10 months, about Victoria reading bedtime stories and making terrible cookies and holding Emma after nightmares, about how right it felt to wake up next to her, to have coffee together while Emma ate cereal, to build something real together. "No," he said. "Not too big. Just right." Victoria moved in 2 weeks later. Emma helped her unpack, insisted on showing her where everything went. They turned the spare room into Victoria's office, still needed for the work she couldn't delegate, but separate from the rest of the house. Boundaries. A year after that blind date neither of them had wanted, Lucas stood in the kitchen washing dishes while Victoria helped Emma with homework at the table. It was normal, ordinary. Everything he'd been afraid to hope for. His phone rang. "Marcus." "Hey," Lucas answered. "Question. When are you going to propose?" Lucas nearly dropped the plate he was holding. "What?" "You heard me. You two have been together over a year. She lives with you. Emma adores her. When are you going to make it official?" "I don't. We haven't talked about that." "So talk about it. Or don't talk. Just ask. She'll say yes." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do. Everyone knows it, except apparently you." Lucas hung up, went to the closet where he'd hidden Sarah's wedding ring a year ago, pulled out the box, looked at the ring. It didn't feel wrong anymore to think about proposing to someone else. It felt right, like the next logical step in a journey he'd been afraid to take. He put the ring back. Not yet, but soon. 3 months later, Lucas asked Emma what she'd think if he asked Victoria to marry him. "Would she be my mom then?" Emma asked. "She'd be your stepmom. Your mom will always be your mom. But Victoria would be part of our family officially." Emma thought about it. "Would we have a wedding?" "Probably." "Can I wear a fancy dress?" "Absolutely." "Then yes, you should ask her." Lucas planned it for a Friday night, told Victoria he was taking her to dinner, told Emma she was having a sleepover at Marcus's, took Victoria to Romano's, the same restaurant where they'd met over a year ago. "Why here?" Victoria asked as they sat at the same table by the window. "Because this is where it started. Seemed fitting." They had dinner. Lucas was nervous, kept fidgeting with his fork until Victoria called him on it. "What's wrong?" she asked. "Nothing, just thinking." "About?" "About how a year ago I was sitting at this table thinking I'd been set up as a joke. And now here we are." Victoria smiled. "Here we are." "I love you," Lucas said. "I know I don't say it enough, but I do. You and Emma, you're everything to me." "I love you too, both of you. You gave me a life I didn't know I wanted." Lucas reached into his pocket, pulled out the small box, set it on the table between them. Victoria stared at it. "Lucas, let me say this before I lose my nerve. I know we haven't been together that long. I know there are 1,000 practical reasons to wait. But I also know that I don't want to wait. I want to build a life with you. Officially. Legally. All of it. I want Emma to have you as a stepmom. I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life. I want the whole messy, complicated, beautiful thing." He opened the box. Inside was a ring. Not Sarah's ring, but a new one. Simple, elegant, entirely Victoria's. "Will you marry me?" Victoria was crying. "Yes. Yes, of course, yes." Lucas slipped the ring on her finger, kissed her across the table while other diners applauded, and the waiter pretended not to cry. They got married 6 months later. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. Emma was the flower girl in a dress even fancier than her preschool graduation one. Marcus was the best man. Victoria's assistant cried through the entire ceremony. The wedding took place in the park, their park, where Lucas had first brought Victoria, where they'd had countless conversations about fear and futures and everything in between. Emma stood beside them during the vows, holding both their hands. Lucas promised to love Victoria through the chaos and the quiet. Victoria promised to show up every day, even when it was hard. Emma promised to only say bad words when Uncle Marcus wasn't around, which made everyone laugh. They honeymooned locally, couldn't leave Emma for long, and didn't want to. Just 3 days at a bed and breakfast 2 hours away, where they slept in and had breakfast in bed and talked about the future. I want to adopt her, Victoria said on the second day. Emma, officially, if you're okay with that. Lucas felt his throat get tight. Really? Really? I'm her stepmom legally now, but I want to be her mom in every way I can be. With your permission. You have it. Absolutely, you have it. They started the adoption process when they got back. It took 8 months of paperwork and home visits and interviews. On a Tuesday morning in March, they stood in a courthouse with Emma between them and made it official. Emma Lang Hale. 2 last names, 2 families, 1 whole person. That night, Emma asked Victoria to tuck her in. You're my real mom now, right? Emma asked. I'm your stepmom. Your other mom will always be your mom, even though she's not here. But you're my mom too. Victoria kissed her forehead. Yeah, baby. I'm your mom too. Years passed. Emma started elementary school. Victoria cut her work hours even more, started teaching a class at the local university once a week. Lucas expanded his business, hired 2 employees, stopped working 70-hour weeks himself. They had family dinners every night. Movie nights on Fridays, park visits on Saturdays. Normal, ordinary, beautiful life. One night, 5 years after that blind date, Lucas found Victoria on the back porch, staring at the stars. You okay? He asked, sitting beside her. Just thinking about how different my life is now. 5 years ago, I was working 70-hour weeks, eating alone, convinced I had everything figured out. And now? Now I have you, and Emma, and family dinners and movie nights, and homework help. I have a life. Regret it? Not for a second. She leaned against him. Thank you. For what? For not running away when I showed up at that restaurant. For giving me a chance. For building this with me. Thank you for the same thing. For showing up. For staying. For loving Emma like she's yours. She is mine. You both are. They sat in comfortable silence, listening to the crickets and the distant sound of cars. Inside, Emma was asleep, safe and loved. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, new chaos, new moments to navigate. But tonight, everything was exactly as it should be. Hey, Victoria said. Remember what you told me that first night? About how everything's scary, but we do it anyway? Yeah, you were right. Everything's scary, but we did it anyway. And look what we built. Lucas looked at the house they'd renovated together, at the life they'd created, at the family they'd become, messy and imperfect and real. Yeah, he said, look what we built. And it was enough, more than enough. It was everything.